Yo, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. And on today's episode, we've got a special one featuring somebody that I've known since I started my jiu-jitsu career back in 2013. He runs his own school and he runs, hands down, the best jiu-jitsu podcast on the planet, and that is Josh McKinney. If you haven't already started listening to his podcast, it is the I Suck at Jiu-Jitsu Show. I will leave a link in the description to the podcast, so make sure you guys check that out because Josh drops knowledge when it comes to jiu-jitsu, and he has some of the best people to ever do the sport in the world on his podcast, so make sure you check that out. So in this episode, Josh is going to be going up against AJ Agazarm, and if you know anything about jiu-jitsu, you know that AJ isn't very well liked in the jiu-jitsu community, and that's a monster of his own making. That's kind of his persona. So we are going to find out if a jiu-jitsu podcaster actually doesn't suck at jiu-jitsu. So with all that out of the way, let's get into the video. So we start the match off here seeing AJ trying to shake Josh's hand. Josh doesn't trust it. I wouldn't either, and neither should anybody else that goes against AJ if you know his history, because he's known to play some dirty tricks. He probably wanted to arm drag Josh right off of the slap bump. So Josh is going to kind of back away and then come in and kind of see what AJ wants to give him. AJ's in a defensive wrestling stance. Josh is also kind of in a defensive wrestling stance, keeping his head level with AJ because AJ's known to do some fancy wrestle ups, which is probably his claim to fame. So Josh is going to kind of extend away and then encroach before grabbing the grips, and the ref is going to stop it because that was 30 seconds of inactivity, so they both got a penalty. But you can eat 5 of those before you get DQ'd, so Josh and AJ aren't really worried. Here we see Josh pulling into his guard position here, getting a cross collar lapel position, and then using his right hand to post up and immediately score the 2 points for the sweep. So Josh here is now going to be in a knee cut passing position with AJ using his left hand to grab Josh's far right leg to stop him from, getting any type of balance. AJ is playing a defensive half guard position. Josh is playing a knee cut position. I can't really see what they're doing with their hands, but based on Josh's posture, I'm going to assume that he's grabbing the lapels and trying to pass his left knee through, and AJ is doing a good job of framing against Josh, trying to stop him from getting the knee cut through with his right arm. Now, again, Josh is going to start doing something that a lot of high-level passers do, especially at black belt adult, where you're going to disengage from the position when you realize or feel that you're not going to be able to pass, especially in half guard, when you're not going to be able to pass convincingly without giving the bottom person more grips or something that they can use to kind of get into a scramble position. So as they start to turn, you're going to start to see more of where their grips are and what they're doing. AJ is still defending with his right arm kind of cross-facing Josh. Josh is trying to get an underhook for the knee cut pass, and Josh is going to just back away completely from the position and then reset. This is something that a lot of high-level guard players do, like I just said, because sometimes it's easier to back away, take a step backwards to get 2 steps forward. And you can see that Josh is now going to start trying to figure out how he wants to engage AJ's seated position. Josh is going to kind of extend his hands out so he can grab a collar. Once he grabs that collar, he's going to grab another collar, and then he's going to start kind of walking around, keeping this tripod position with his head. So that forces AJ to kind of stay down. AJ is kind of in a S-mount position because I think he wants to spring up and try to engage with a wrestle up, but Josh is going to start passing side to side, using his chest and this tripod position to keep AJ down, which stops him from wrestling up. And now Josh is going to start putting on the pressure with his guard passing abilities. AJ is able to survive the onslaught by using this spider grip with his left leg on Josh's right arm, and Josh is going to start weaving his right hand in between the legs and fishing that spider hook out, so now he doesn't have to worry about that distance management tool that AJ was using. AJ is trying to start opening up the lapels now, and what a lot of people on bottom do when the top person is faster is they feed out these lapels and try to get into worm guard positions, De La Worm, X-Worm, Anubis, if you know Gannon Lang's position, the Anubis guard with the single leg X lapel. And that's something that bottom people can do to slow down faster guard passers. If you just watched the previous clip, you saw that Josh was able to kind of move in a way that AJ wasn't able to track. So now that he's got a grip of the lapel, he's going to try to fish it in between his legs and wrap up Josh to stop him from moving faster than he can keep up with. AJ is going to start defending, and Josh is going to be able to use his right arm to get a deep underhook. And what he's going to start to set up here is by taking his left leg and putting it behind the back of AJ as AJ tries to lift him here. He's going to be able to start setting up the Kimura lock or Kimura trap position. Now Josh is on his butt. He's got AJ's left arm kind of isolated, and he's starting to set up a Kimura trap, which leads to arm bars and a whole bunch of other positions. AJ, realizing he's in danger, is able to switch his hips. Josh is going to disengage from the position and push AJ out of bounds, and then we're going to reset in the center with AJ on his butt and Josh standing. So again, Josh used that mentality of getting out of the position, resetting so he could engage the guard on his own terms. Sometimes it's better to just back away and disengage if you feel like you're losing a position than to stay in the position and allow your opponent to get on top of you or put you in a worse position. So now AJ is still playing that lapel grip, trying to slow Josh down. Josh is really doing a good job here of utilizing his up and down type of pressure, moving his legs side to side. AJ tries to invert here. Josh is going to scoot his hips away, and AJ is just going to end up right in front of Josh with a kind of De La Hiva-ish position. Josh right here has got a grip on the belt, and now what he's doing with his right hand, which he's been doing throughout the match, is setting up the knee cut pass. Josh is a very good knee cut passer, and what he does with his right hand is that he fights for that underhook while he passes, which is something that you should be doing if you're trying to get better at the knee cut pass. You want to control that underhook if you get a chance. AJ here is now using Josh's lapel to kind of slow him down. Josh realizes that he's kind of in a precarious position where his leg is now trapped. AJ is gripping his lapel. I'm not really sure where the entanglement is happening here, which area of the lapel is under, but Josh is now kind of immobilized here for the moment. Josh is going to start putting pressure down on AJ's head, because AJ is trying to do here with this lapel is the same thing that Bernardo Faria does, is the same thing Leonardo Sagero does, where they fight up, they wrestle up from these positions of half guard and shin to shin with the lapel, and they wrestle up and get their 2 points there, and that's exactly what AJ is trying to do, but Josh is able to masterfully counter that, and now AJ is playing a deep half-ish position, but he's not really on his back. It's still a half guard, but it's kind of the transition period between half guard and deep half is what AJ is trying to play, and Josh is trying to control the belt and control the back of AJ's lapel so he can start freeing his leg, and AJ is going to start to build his base on his right elbow. Josh is going to take advantage of that by setting up a back-taking situation, but his leg, Josh's right leg, is still trapped, and AJ is still trying to wrestle up, and Josh is going to start trying to control the arm and control the head and prevent AJ from wrestling up into him. AJ is still holding on to Josh's leg and lapel for dear life because there's still an opportunity for him to hit the wrestle up and get the takedown. Josh is doing a very good job of keeping pressure on AJ's head, so much so that he's in this tripod position where he can't really lift up his upper body to take Josh's leg with him. Josh is still going to be controlling the right arm of AJ Agazarm and stop him from kind of getting that lapel position to the point where AJ has to switch into a half guard reverse De La Hiva position, but he still has that lapel. He's still able to get it. Josh is going to start attacking the arm that has the lapel, but when Josh sits to his hip here, AJ is able to switch his hips and then come up on top, and that's going to be 2 points for AJ, and now the score is now tied with Josh being in the bottom of close guard. So here we're going to continue the match with Josh being on the bottom of close guard. AJ is going to stand up in this tripoded position with his legs far away, so Josh can no longer hit any type of muscle sweeps or sweeps when AJ stands up. Look at how Josh is playing his close guard position, keeping his tailbone and lower back off the mat. That's a very good close guard. Then something that you should be doing when your opponent is standing. Make sure you're not being lazy with your close guard by keeping your back and butt on the ground. So now Josh has opened up into his open guard position here. AJ is trying to figure out a way to pass by using his right hand to grab kind of the tail or the belt of Josh. Josh is controlling AJ's far left leg and trying to keep him in his open guard position. Josh is going to switch his left hand grip to the belt, which is a position that Adam Warzinski plays when he plays that half guard butterfly position. Josh is going to use that belt grip to keep the head of AJ down, preventing him from getting into the stack passing pressure position. AJ is going to kind of spring off of his feet though and still get into the stack passing position. Josh is very flexible, and what he's going to do is bring his right leg over and cross them in front of his chest. That way AJ can't really put pressure on Josh's chest. He's going to be putting pressure on his feet. Josh is still going to be defending by trying to get his feet free so he can start setting up his open guard position. AJ is going to drop his hips down to the ground and still go for that stack passing position. That's one thing I'll give AJ. If anything, he's determined and resourceful, and when he gets into a position where he thinks is dominant, he's going to go for it relentlessly. Josh is still doing a good job of controlling the lapel of AJ, kind of stopping him from getting the posture and the pressure that he needs, but now AJ is able to take his right hand and start feeding it across and really putting pressure on Josh. Luckily, he's flexible, and if you look at Josh's face, I'm sure that was very uncomfortable to have AJ in this tripod position, almost passing. You can see that he took his right hand and grabbed the cross collar on Josh, and he's almost getting into this pressure passing, stack passing position. But Josh is going to do something that I'm going to actually slow down here. Josh is going to grab AJ's sleeve, and when he does that, he shoots his legs through, and now he's setting up the triangle position. So Josh is able to flip the script on AJ's passing and set up the triangle position. And because AJ was doing the stack pass, he's now in a precarious position where his head is down and Josh is able to lock on a triangle position. AJ is pretty hardy and doesn't tap to a lot, so Josh is really trying to get this triangle position locked on. It's really tight, but AJ is able to survive. But unfortunately for AJ and fortunately for Josh, he is going to get the advantage for the triangle attempt in the last few seconds of the match, which is going to solidify the win for Josh McKinney. So let's get right into the takeaways here. The major takeaway here is that as the guard passer, if you're feeling something that's off on the bottom person's game, there's no shame, and actually it's probably better in your interest to back away and then reset the position. I talk about this all the time. Take a step backwards to take 2 steps forward. I do this in my game. Josh clearly did that in this game. Felipe Andrew did that in the last video I did when he went against Adam Warzinski at BJJ Stars. So being able to realize that you're not in a good passing position and disengaging completely to reset and pass on your own terms is a skill that guard passers need to have. So ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the video. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you guys for supporting the channel. It truly means more than you know. Now I need you to tune into the I Suck at Jiu-Jitsu show, because Josh is going to go a little bit more in depth about this match. And obviously there was drama, because when AJ Agazarm is involved, there's always drama. He tries to step to Josh, but I will let Josh tell that story on the podcast, so make sure you tune in for that. And just make sure you tune into the podcast in general. There's a lot of knowledge there, a lot of high-level people that come on the podcast, and you can definitely learn a lot. There's some things that Josh talks about and other high-level people talk about that I've implemented into my game and my theory and thinking about jiu-jitsu, so tune into that. Anyway, that's the end of the video. I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.